Welcome to the series where I test out the Osrs Wiki money making guides. I started this series almost a year ago, and since then we've tried out multiple methods even if they're a little silly, such as picking bananas or even flax. If you enjoy these types of videos, then feel free to check out the playlist that I've made for them, and feel free to leave a suggestion down in the comments for a method that you'd like to see tested. With that being said, let's get into the video. So for today's video, we will be taking a look at making bottled dragon breath. Now, this was requested quite some time ago, and I did plan to make a video on it when it was first requested, but upon checking the price of the items as shown here at the top, it's kind of a weird moneymaker because these things don't really sell too fast, and the price of the items do seem to change quite a bit. So before trying out this moneymaker, just do a price check and make sure that it is still profitable. So this video is going to be a little different than usual. Instead of doing this activity for 1 hour, I'm going to see how long it takes me to do 500 like the wiki says. And the reason for this is because this is a two-step process, and I'd much rather do it the efficient way of making the uncharged versions all at once, and then charging them up instead of making 2 at a time and charging them like that. The reason why I'm not doing it the usual way is because if I did it the normal way, then I wouldn't exactly know when to stop the first step and continue on to the second step, which is charging them, depending on how much time I had left, so this will just be easier. Now, as for the gear setup, you don't really need anything besides the ice gloves, and even those you don't exactly need them, but it will help out greatly, especially if you want to do this moneymaker for a long period of time. Basically, the ice gloves stop you from taking damage whenever you're charging up the bottled dragon breath. If you don't have them on, then you will take a little bit of damage here and there, and you will need food to heal up. I also decided to bring my full graceful just in case I needed it whenever I was doing the second step, which is charging the bottled dragon breath. I wasn't really sure what to expect since this was my first time, so I just made sure to bring the things that I thought that I would need. But again, really the only thing you actually need is the ice gloves, along with the inventory of the dragon fruit and the vials. And also, if you have it, bring the Rada's Blessing 3 or 4, that way you can get to Mount Karum a lot faster. But if you don't have that, then don't worry, I'm going to show right now how to get there by other means. So you can either get there by using the fairy ring code CIR or using a Battlefront teleport, which requires 60% Arceus favor. For this, I'm just going to be using the fairy ring, and once you travel with the correct code, you just run north up this mountain and you will find yourself at an agility obstacle. Now, if you don't have the agility requirement to use these 2 shortcuts that you see here, then you can just run around the entire mountain and get up there as well. Of course, it'll take a little bit of extra time, but I mean, you'll still get there. And you only need to travel here once. Well, I guess if you want to do this for many hours at a time and you need to buy more supplies, you'll have to come back here. But for the most part, as long as you have all of your supplies, once you're up here, you're good to go. And as you can see here, there is a bank chest that we will be using for this moneymaker. And south of that is the sulfur vent where we will be charging our bottled dragon breath. Also, there was a quick look at the Mount Karum teleport located on the Rada's Blessing. As for the bank setup, you can set some fillers like I did here just to organize it and make banking a little bit faster. I put them close to the deposit inventory button just so we can maximize efficiency, at least to the best of my ability. I also have placeholders already for the bottled dragon breath uncharged and charged variants. And I set the X option to 20 so we can withdraw all of the dragon fruit that we need in 1 click. And also be careful not to accidentally eat the dragon fruit. The left click option on the dragon fruit is to eat, and as you saw there, I did eat one of them. So yeah, just be careful of that. Now, as for the method, it is very straightforward. All you'll be doing is withdrawing 20 dragon fruit at a time and 2 vials. I do have more than 2 just because I have that left click option on, but it doesn't really matter. All you do is click on a vial and then click on the dragon fruit and it'll automatically make 2. Now, this can be very click intensive since you have to be constantly clicking. I mean, there's really no rest time. Maybe if there was a smaller amount of dragon fruit needed for each one, but since this goes by so fast, you'll be constantly clicking, and it's unfortunate to say, but the second part is also going to be kind of click intensive if you choose to do so. But at least you'll be making some nice money, as you'll see later on. Now, I suppose if you really wanted to, you could configure your shift click options within Runelight so that you don't accidentally eat the dragon fruit. Throughout this moneymaker, I misclicked quite a few times, be it either eating the dragon fruit or withdrawing the wrong item first, but once you do this for a while, you can get used to it and it'll be a lot faster. Now, me personally, I didn't use the shift click option on the dragon fruit, but I did use it for the second step, and I'll show you how to configure that in a little bit. And as you can see here, it only took us 15 minutes and 29 seconds to make all of the bottled dragon breath. That is 500 of those. And honestly, I was pretty surprised. I fully expected to take a lot longer to make these, but it does really go by pretty quickly. Now, as you can see here, if we left click on the bottle dragon breath, it gives us the inspect option, just telling us that we need to charge it before we can use it. And that's pretty unfortunate, but luckily we do have the shift click configure option in Runelight. So I'll be right clicking on the inventory button and selecting the use option, so that now whenever we hold the shift button, it will say use instead of inspect, similar to whenever you are shift dropping items. Now this is very important if you do want to make the most money possible, because if you don't use this feature, then you'll have to right click each individual one and use it on there, and it can get pretty tedious. Now this was another part where I wasn't really sure what to expect. I didn't know if they charged automatically or if you can just do it as fast as possible. And yeah, it actually turns out that it's similar to using bones on an altar. You can either let it go automatically, which will be slower, or you can manually charge each one, which is a lot faster and a lot more money. So ultimately, it's up to you whether you want a more AFK approach to make less money, or if you just want to go full efficiency mode and try to maximize the amount of money that you can make in this 1 hour. One important thing to remember is that I am by no means efficient at this game, so if you're better than me, which is highly possible, then you can make a lot more money than me, considering that I did misclick quite a bit during this money making method. But honestly, I was just excited to see that I can make a lot more than what the wiki says. Now the wiki's probably going off of the automatic timer, but it didn't specify, so again, I wasn't sure what to expect, but as you can see here, after 24 minutes and 12 seconds, we did finish filling up the vials and charging them over the sulfur vents. And in a little bit, we'll do a quick calculation to see how much we would have made if we continue doing this for 1 hour. We can now head over to the Grand Exchange to sell off all of the stuff that we made, but before we do that, a quick little shout out to ZZ host ZZ, who thought that I was botting and apparently too busy being poor filling vials for GP to reply, so yeah. Now again, I just want to say it's very important that you do a price check on these items before you attempt this moneymaker, because like I said, it took me a while to do this one because of the constant price changes, and every time I was checking, it wasn't nearly enough or nearly as much as it said on the wiki, but today just happened to be a good day, so just make sure you double check. Now I just decided to put it in there for the actively traded price, but with like all of my videos, I do recommend putting it in there for market price or a little bit more if you do plan on camping this moneymaker for a while. Letting it sit there overnight can net you some more profit. So after doing some quick maths, I found out that I would have been able to make around 1,239 of these bottled dragon breath if I were to continue doing it for 1 hour. All I did to arrive at that number was divide 500 by 1452, which gave us the amount that we could make per second, and then I multiplied that by 3600, which is how many seconds are in 1 hour. So based off of these calculations, we can now calculate how much money we'd make from 1 hour of making these bottled dragon breath. So if we take the cost of supplies, which is the dragon fruit and the vials, it's 11,079,138 GP. Subtract that from the total amount of money that we made, which was 13,033,041 GP. We would get a grand total profit of 1,953,903 GP, so almost 2 million. And like I said, I did a bunch of misclicking, so if you are better than me, which again isn't that hard, you can definitely make 2 mil doing this. But once again, make sure you do a price check, make sure it's still a viable moneymaker. I just want to say thanks for checking out the video, and if you enjoyed it, please consider giving it a thumbs up and maybe even a subscription. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next episode.